Welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I am Stacey Earlywine, and we are all falled out, aren't we?
We are. I love fall.
I love fall, too. It's going to be a great one.
Makes me so happy.
I know. I do love fall. I love the color. Have you noticed the trees are changing?
Yes. There's one in particular. Well, there's two. One on East 3rd and one on West 3rd that are both beautiful this time of year. Those are two of my favorites.
Now, is it a little soon for that to be happening?
No, I don't think so. I think there's some trees. It depends on the tree. Some trees turn earlier. And I think the ones that are my favorite, they're some kind of maple, I think.
Yeah, we had it. When I bought my house back in 1990, one of the reasons why I love that house, we had this ginormous tree in the front, and it was the color of this. It was like that. And it turned really, really fast, and it stayed red, vibrant, and it kept its leaves till everybody else was down. I loved that tree, and then a stupid tornado came through after a few years and tore it down.
That's the worst.
I was super sad about it. But anyway, yeah, so fun. I love fall. Yeah, and is there something special about today?
Today is National Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Matey. That's literally all I... walk the plank. I don't know.
Yeah, walk the plank.
And
go find the Jolly Roger. That one. Let me think what else.
I love the Black Pearl.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a good pirate speaker.
No, me either. That's all I can think of.
That was it.
Maybe I'll try to throw a few more in over the episode.
Every day is a something.
I know. Actually, my friend Dorothy that lives in Iowa, shout out to her, she posts on Facebook every day what today is. She has a website she follows, so she shares it.
Well, I need to be Dorothy's friend because I want to know these things.
Every day there's like 4 or 5 things. Like National Eat a Chocolate Chip Cookie Day.
Not just one thing a day?
No, it's like because there's so many, everything's claimed a day now. That there's like 4 or 5 things at least every day. I mean, think of some random object, and it probably has its own day. Like there's Quilt Day, there's
Cup Day, China Day.
There's National Make a Fall Arrangement Day, probably. I mean, you just any activity, there's a day. So yeah, today's Talk Like a Pirate Day.
How fun! All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So
we got a bunch to talk about today.
We have a really fun episode planned. We're going to discuss the Bowman family and the Bowman house.
Yeah.
But first, let's jump into our old ad.
I don't know which one he's going to pop up first.
Okay. Let's see what we have here.
You just pick. Oh yeah, this one cracks me up.
Okay. Let's take a look.
Show this picture.
Oh my.
Chaz Councilman and Companies Royal Hams, recommended by all good physicians. I don't even know what that means.
What?
I don't know, but I mean, in the middle of the ham has
recommended by all good physicians.
Recommended by all good physicians. Listen to this little poem. There was an old man of Tobago who lived on rice, gruel, and sago. Till much to his bliss, his physician said this: to a hamster of councilmans you may go.
Oh, okay. They probably paid somebody money to write that little poem.
But I don't know. Could they not have picked a scarier cartoon?
I know. He looks
like the Penguin off of one of the Batman series.
Yeah, he does.
Danny DeVito played.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a villain.
He does. But yeah, the poem, there was, I guess the go, to a ham of Sir Councilman's you may go. Yeah, because I was like, bliss, go, this, that.
Yeah. That's super cute. I wonder how old that is.
I don't know. It's just these really weird little postcards I found amongst all my papers. I got a ton of them. I'm actually going to frame them.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to do some framing when I get done. But yeah, it's just like this little postcard I found in some of my...
Cute.
I don't know. They're
cute
just...
and a little...
creepy. But he is going to be I'm gonna put him in, I don't know, I'm gonna put him in like a mirage of pictures.
Like a collage.
A collage.
Yeah.
Collage of because there's so many of them. I just think they're cute as can be. Yeah. So what are we going to talk about today?
Okay, so we're talking about the Bowmans.
Yeah.
And the Bowman house.
We covered the Bowmans a tiny baby bit once.
A tiny baby bit. We talked about Bowman Hardware.
Yeah,
which was downtown.
Located where Phillips Park is at now, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So basically I started off because I want to talk about their house. I love the house. So
I love the house,
too. It sits on the corner of Sycamore and East 6th in Flora. And Ty, I think, do you have a picture of the house that we can show? And then we'll... Yeah, this is it, and back in the heyday.
Now, this was is this original? Is this what it was built to be?
This is, and notice the paint color there. It's a little bit of a sage green color.
Now, what's that little tree?
They have some wood frame around a tree that they've planted out front. Okay, look up at the top, like see the wood that is kind of on the side. It's like siding, but it's like different. It's white trim.
Is it on the peak, on the ones that are the peaks, or
yeah,
not? Yeah,
at the very top.
Yeah, I love that.
That is called timbering on these old houses. Timbering, and the other Victorian on Third has that too. The one that Randall Flood lives in.
Oh, the old Spitzner family. Yeah, the Spitzner house.
Yes,
which I love that house. I love that house too.
Okay, so this is the Bowman house. So I have so much to tell you about this. So that house has the same footprint, we think, as the house that we talked about, the Dunnigan's house.
The Dunnigan home.
So they were both built by Frank S. Nichols, who was the guy that built our depot, and he built 3 or 4 homes around Flora.
Not to mention laid tons of sidewalks with his stamp still in it.
Yes, he was a concrete man, and he laid tons of sidewalks all over town. So this house was built in 1906. They finished it in 1907. It cost $8,000 to build. It is full of oak. So some other Victorians around that time were built, and they're also beautiful, but their cost was more like $3,000.
Right, like the black house on Vincennes was around $3,500.
Yeah, this one, even though from the outside they both look like big houses, this one was fancy, and there was a bunch of things that made it different from other houses.
Well, if you take into consideration, he owned a hardware store.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of interesting.
There's a lot of things that make the house different, but let's back up a minute, okay?
Rewind.
Rewind.
Arr, matey.
Where did they get the money to build this big old house?
Where did they get the money?
He ran a hardware store, and he was successful.
So a bootlegger.
No.
Oh, shoot.
A lot of people thought, like, maybe they just hadn't made a good living. But if you learn a little bit more about the wife, the money was hers.
The money comes from her. What was her maiden name? Do you know?
Cunningham.
Cunningham.
We have discussed John Cunningham and Charles Cunningham. So John Cunningham was her father. He was a jeweler here in town.
The one that I think is so cute. We did Cunningham's not too long ago.
Yeah, that might have been a brother that was the cute one. I'm not sure. Maybe it was her dad. But okay. So Nell and her name was Nell. So the two people that built the house is Jerry Bowman and then Nell Cunningham Bowman. Okay, that's who we're discussing.
Okay,
Nell,
cool.
And I'm just going to call him Jay.
Let's just call him Jay.
Okay.
Jay Bowman.
But Nell's father was John. He was born in 1844, and he died in 1906. Wait, when was that house built? 1906.
So she got a pretty penny, didn't she?
None of that's confirmed. But, okay, so John was founder of the Cunningham and Harder Savings Bank. His dad started the Cunningham and Harder Savings Bank here. So John's dad was Benjamin Franklin Cunningham, who was one of the very first pioneers here, one of the very first settlers. Okay. And then he settled here, and he did some milling, and he did a little bit of everything, but he started the Cunningham and Harder Savings Bank. That's important.
That is important. Because
if you start a bank, usually bankers back then had a lot of money.
Right.
They were pretty successful people. Okay. So so Benjamin Franklin's first wife, didn't live very long. She passed away. And then he remarried, and this lady's, the next Cunningham that he married, she was the first white baby born in Clay County. This, I don't have her name written down, but that was his wife. I might have it on another piece of paper. Let me see here. And so they went from having, she especially went from being poor probably and from pioneers that were here in the beginning to being married to this banker and having all of this money. So let's see. Her name was Mary Elizabeth Finch, and she was a direct descendant of Sir Heneage Finch, born in Kent, England. So she was born here in the first white child born in Flora in not Clay County, in Flora,
yeah.
September 25th, 1854. So I said Clay County.
That would back up to like when Samuel White was here.
Yes.
And we did the first episode. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right, because
Mary Elizabeth Finch, first white child born in Flora.
Because we didn't actually, when we did the first of Flora, we didn't have her name. It just said first white child and who she was born to.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is a little bit of a backstory on the family. And they started this bank. Well, whenever Benjamin Franklin passed away, John also was big in the bank. And then after him, Charles was big in the bank. And this bank turned into the First National Bank because they were all on the board of directors of the First National Bank.
Yeah, all these names. Boy, it's funny how all these names just intertwine from because when we did the banking. Yeah, it's all coming.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're touching on this. This is cool.
Yeah. So, and what's interesting about the Bowman family is that they all really liked the names in their families, so they reused them a lot.
That's so confusing too when they do that.
Yeah. So
I lose such
track. I'm going to try to be clear about it as I talk about who's
I lose
who
track.
Here. But anyway, so I think it was Nell that had the money, okay? And she purchased, when her father died in 1906, she purchased 3 lots in Flora.
Now, was she an only child? Was Nell an only child? Did she inherit?
She wasn't. She had a brother, Charles, and he became the mayor of Flora.
Okay.
And then they actually had 2 stepbrother or half brothers from whenever the first wife had passed away.
Okay.
But they were never mentioned again, so I don't know where they went. But so she has her brother. He's also successful in Flora. He's on the board at the Bank of Directors, and he is, a really important guy too as the mayor. So there's a lot to talk about, but we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then I'll tell you more.
Sounds good.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we're talking about the Bowman house.
Yes, one of the house that you and I both love.
Yes, and I can't wait to show this one to you. You're going to get to see it in the inside eventually.
Well, yeah, I'm going in.
Yeah.
I haven't been in it since Mrs. Ridgway passed away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so where was I? Okay, so she purchased 3 lots, Nell did. Okay, this is the wife. And when you go back to the deeds, it's her name as the purchaser. Even though she's married already to Jay Bowman, it's her name, not his name, okay? Which all leads us to think this is her money and her dad had just died. It all makes a lot of sense,
it does make sense, yeah.
So she purchased these 3 lots. and they are on the corner of East 6th and Sycamore. And if you want to Google this, you can look at it, but it's the highest point in Flora where her house is. Now, it's gradual because you don't think about our city being very hilly. But if you look at elevation levels, this is all like on Google Maps or whatever, it really is the highest elevation in the city of Flora.
I had no idea.
It's 5 feet higher than Main Street. And you can be at that house and you can like look down to Main Street and you can tell it's very gradual, but you're looking down at Main.
Interesting. That's an interesting fact.
Yes, it is. I like
In case
that
it's ever on a trivia question, we might need to know.
Right. Okay, so this house was so unique because, so they decided to build the house there, and they loved the Carr home. That's the one that the Dunnigans currently live in on the corner of 3rd and Sycamore, okay? So after Nell bought the land, and she bought it from a man named John Simond, and then she went out and she hired the same exact contractor as the Carrs had used, Frank Nichols, and was like, hey, we love this house. We want you to make us one. And he did. So it's a 10-room house. It has 2 bathrooms. It's almost all oak interior. And it has a beautiful built-in china cabinet that is in the dining room. That is still there. Let's see a picture
I want to
of
see that. That'd be awesome.
Do you have? That's one I just sent over, Ty. Yes. Yeah, there we go. Look at that beautiful built-in china cabinet. It's still there in their dining room.
And that's original to the house.
Original to the house. The thing about this house is everything is still there. Like all of the original woodwork, everything is still there.
That's what's beautiful. I mean, like I said, you got to give kudos to the other people that lived in this home, leaving everything.
Yes, and it says, originally a leather dado covered the walls to a height of 6 feet, protecting the wall from wear. So this is like a leather wallpaper. I have a picture of that too, Ty. Let's take a look at that. It's like a leather. There we go. It has a texture to it. It's hard to see in this picture, but it is leather. It has this beautiful design on it, almost like a wallpaper.
It does, yeah.
Okay, so sadly, the house was remodeled over the years.
I was getting ready to say, is that still there?
That's still there. I just took that picture yesterday.
Okay.
But they glued paneling down over the whole entire beautiful interior from 1906 in the 60s. They glued paneling down, except that one section right there. Whenever the family the large family who's currently restoring it, when they came in, they just started ripping off this paneling. They tried to gently to try to save some of what was underneath, of course, but there was no saving. It was just glued. But that section right there survived simply because they forgot to put the glue on it. Okay, there's also 2 original chandeliers in the house. From 1906.
Now you're speaking my language.
Speaking your language. I know. Let's see. There's one.
Oh, I love that.
This one hangs in the front parlor, and I think at one time they actually swapped these. I think that Craig Larch said that this one actually used to be in the dining room.
Oh, really?
They kind of swapped rooms because it looked better. Let's see the second one. Please, Ty. That one.
Oh, that's neat.
Oh, yeah. Wish you could see it in person. And let's also take a look at that beautiful ceiling. I mean, oak wood everywhere. Yeah. Ceilings, walls, and it's just gorgeous. So pretty. Okay, thank you, Ty. Okay,
and all those lights are all back in.
Oh, yeah.
They're all making their way back.
Okay. So, yes, old houses all had a lot of oak, and yes, they all had chandeliers. That's not what makes this house unique. Okay, this stuff is a little bit more technical. So, first of all, the studs for this house are a lot like the one we talked about with Haskell Nutgrass on his house. They go from the floor to the top of the building.
That's crazy.
One big old long piece of wood. And they're not oak and they're not wood from anywhere around here. They are, because most of the wood around here was not kiln dried and it was crooked. There was something, I'll get to that in a minute, but they used Western hemlock. and it had to come in on the railroad from out west because it wasn't even found around here. So they sourced out what wood they wanted to build this house with, and they used a tree that's not even from around here, that's from out west. They could get these really long pieces of good sturdy wood. I mean, Frank Nichols was a very particular man, I think, because what he used was the best of the best.
Speaking of Frank Nichols, where did he live?
That's a good question. I think he lived in Reinard. I'm pretty sure he lived in Reinard.
Because there's a grand... I just wrote down, where does Frank Nichols live? Because we need to do a whole episode on Frank Nichols.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So, that's the kind of wood they use. Now, Frank was a concrete man, so the bottom of the house, the basement, all this, so much concrete and the what's the word? Foundation.
Yeah.
Okay, the basement was hand dug, as basements were back then. So it has this huge
all concrete walls.
Yes, and it's not like a creepy basement like some old houses have that are damp and dark.
It was never used as a funeral home.
No. No, it was not.
Wow.
But this is my favorite part that I didn't know about this house, is that it has a very unique drainage system. I don't think this is my second favorite part. Unique drainage system. So there's a ceramic tile line that goes all the way around the perimeter of this house. Okay, and this ceramic tile, which I believe is just like right around the edges of the house, slightly underground, is what I'm guessing. I didn't ask Craig that, but it catches all the rain from the roof. Okay, so the water comes down, goes into this ceramic tile line, and it is then just wherever it all comes down to a cistern that is out back. And the cistern was used for wash water. So that was kind of their extra water they used for washing or anything like that. But then they also had their very own well, and that was used for drinking water. So at that time, in 1906, most people did not have their own well. There was one on each street, and everyone shared it.
Everybody shared it.
Okay, this house had their very own well, and it's right out the back door.
Is it still? It's still there, isn't it?
And it was a great well. It's brick lined, and it's good water.
Has anybody messed with it? Is it still original?
It's original, and it's fine. But they're not allowed to use it for their water because the sewer rules are you can't use well water that goes into the city sewer. So you have to. I mean, they have city water. But
it's just the fact that it's still there.
It is still there,
yeah.
and it's safe. It's safely covered. It's secure. It's done correctly. So there's no code violations there. But kind of neat. It's still on the property. So the house that Mark Dunnigan lives in on 3rd and Sycamore, that was the house that was built in 1903. They were the first ones that have running water inside. But this house that Frank Nichols built for the Bowmans was the second house with water. Now, this is so unique. This is my favorite part. So on the 3rd floor of the house, there was a water box, okay? And there was a pump up there that you could pump, and it would pump all the water from the cistern or the well. You could pick, I guess, which one, and you could pump all the water, and then you filled that water box with water, and that water box was located directly over the bathrooms upstairs. There was also, it was heated, so they had hot and cold running water, and it worked with gravity, and it just right above their bathroom. That's how they could flush their toilets and wash their hands and take a shower. Hot showers in 1906. Meanwhile, most people in town didn't know. Like there was only like maybe the Carr family down a few blocks that had running water. Everybody else was using outhouses, and that's it. They were using outhouses.
Well, yeah, there's no other.
That's just what they were doing.
That's just what they were doing.
And this family, they had it nice. So the boiler in the basement was used to heat the water. And
is it still there? Is the old boiler still in the basement?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I don't know.
So let's look at a few more pictures. I have so many pictures to go through.
Yeah, I want to see pictures.
Just start pulling stuff up, and I'll talk about it. Okay, here's another
look at all the trees.
Yeah, look at all the trees. So
I wonder if General Parsons planted most of those trees.
Yeah, I don't know. Could be. So this is actually facing west, and that's kind of what they consider.
Is
their
that little
front
back porch
yard.
still there, Beth?
No,
It's
has
gone,
fallen
isn't it?
off, but they are planning to restore that.
You know,
that's coming back.
One thing I'm surprised that this house did not have, that the car house, is like the neat carriage entrance on the other side.
Yeah, no,
It never did have that, did it? That's one thing
Apparently
I love about
that wasn't important to them.
the
but
Dunnigans, with the Dunnigan house. That's literally my favorite part of the Dunnigan house.
Maybe they
and it's
had a
still
separate
there.
carriage house in the back or
I
something.
don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, but it's neat.
So, and here's another view. So you can tell at this point in time the house is white. That was not the original color. The original color was made by Sherwin-Williams in the 1860s, which, by the way, Sherwin-Williams, I don't know if that paint color was made in the 1860s, but Sherwin-Williams Paint Company started in the 1860s.
Well, it says October 60 on it, on the side of the picture.
Okay, so that was in 1960.
1960.
Okay, so 100 years before that, Sherwin-Williams Paint Company started, and they made a color called Cornwall Slate, which is like a sage green. And that was the original color of the house. And that is what the paint color will be on the house there now.
It's blue now. It's
No,
been blue, right?
It has been blue, but
It
it
has
is not
been
blue
blue.
now. It's
Okay.
they're working on getting it green again. Back then, if you've wondered about paint color,
Well, let's take a quick commercial
Okay,
break.
yes.
Well, paint colors are my favorite.
I know.
so
We'll be
let's
right
take-
back.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank.
We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experience that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we're talking about the Bowman family and the Bowman house. And I'm going to start talking fast because I feel like I have so much to say.
You got a lot to do. Just roll with it, Beth. Just roll with it.
Okay. So we're talking about paint colors. And the original color was Cornwall Slate because at that time, if you built a new house and you painted it white, that was what poor people did. That's in many sources. Like, you can research that. It keeps coming up. So
how funny.
The poor people chose white. These people were all about, let's just make it grand.
Oh, they were the grand family in town.
They did Cornwall Slate, which is a beautiful sage green color. Okay, so currently, well, before I go to currently, let's talk about the Bowman hardware. So that is what Jay Bowman did. He ran the hardware store downtown. They were a Keen Cutter dealer, which is a brand name of hardware and stuff. He always had the best things. He was known to be a really good salesman, an advertiser, and he loved to use the stuff that was in his store in his house. So when they built the house, he used as much as he could from his hardware store to in the house to build it. And he was also known to always have the best appliances and stuff like that because he could get it at work, and then he actually could give a really solid, honest review on the furniture and the appliances that came from his store.
Yep.
So he was very well respected, very well liked, great guy. And let's see some pictures of the hardware store there, Ty, please.
Oh,
this
look
is
at that.
the inside, and you can see there's a lot of signage for Keen Cutter. That was the brand.
You know, Beth, when I was younger, I remember going into that store. That building was there when I was young.
Oh, really?
When I was about 10 years old.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
okay, let's go to the next one.
That's a neat.
Okay, do you have one of him standing outside on the sidewalk? Did I send that one? Yeah, there we go.
Ah, there he is.
Okay, this is the backside of Mr. Bowman. I don't know. This was a postcard. A lot of times the Keen Cutter company would go around and take pictures of their people that sold their things and their families, and they would turn them into postcards, and then they were given out or mailed out perhaps, I don't know, to kind of advertise for the store. So that is Jay Bowman. Then there is a picture of 3 little girls that are out in a yard. Let's take a look at this.
I love this picture.
Okay, so there's several, but these are the 3 children of Nell and Jay. They had
there's 4 little girls out there.
What? Oh, there is, isn't there? The other one I didn't see. I'm like, what?
They're all in white. I was like, wait a minute.
I don't know who the 4th one is. They only had 3 kids.
It was a friend.
It was a friend. Okay, so they had 3 girls. Anna Mary, who they called May May, and Martha and Marguerite. Okay, so Marguerite, she grew up to marry a man named Red Holpeter. Okay, he was the very first basketball coach in Flora to take the team to the state tournament.
Cool.
But then they moved away and they lived further away. But while May May and Martha both grew up, she married Leo Allen, who ran the lumber yard, and they moved just half a block down the street. And then May May, she ended up moving across the street from this house. So 2 of the girls stayed within a stone's throw of this big house while the other one moved away. Okay, let's go to the next picture of them in a yard. Okay, this is, I think, the 3 girls when they're a little older, and Nell. Okay, and this is a swing there right outside the kitchen window.
Look at their little dresses. House. Is that not the cutest thing you've ever seen?
How cute are they?
This would have been, what, the early 20s?
Probably the early 20s. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. I think there's another one. Okay, this is a postcard. This is taken when the 3 girls were little, and this was taken by Keen Cutter. Our daddy runs the Keen Cutter store. Won't you please buy from him more? We are behind everything he sells, for quality hardware always tells. And then it lists American Fence, Keen Cutter Tools and Cutlery, Myers Pumps and Hay Tools, and Quick Meal Stoves. But he sold all kinds of things.
Gosh.
So what happened is the photographer for Keen Cutter stopped by the house to talk to Mr. Bowman. He was not home. However, these girls were outside playing in the yard, and the photographer thought they were adorable and snapped their picture. Turned it into a postcard. Meanwhile, Nell and Jay were mortified because their girls were so dirty and filthy in this postcard picture, and they did not have them dressed up and ready for a photograph.
They were not dressed to the nines.
They were not. And look at those filthy girls.
Oh, how cute are they?
They're adorable. I can't even tell they're dirty.
I can't
apparently
either.
the mom and dad were like,
it's a black and white picture.
Those are their play clothes. And these 3 little ones were just out in the yard having fun. So that's how the story goes. But they ended up continuing to use the postcard for advertisements, and it was super cute, and everybody loved it. So, okay, let's see what other pictures I have. Oh, look at this one.
This is one of my favorite pictures.
Yes, so this one is taken on the side steps of the house. So this little lady is facing east at this point.
So is that
Martha Allen. This is one of the daughters all grown up.
I love this picture.
It makes me think of Edith from Downton Abbey. Yeah, so she is actually facing the house that probably an empty lot at that point, where one day she and her husband.
Would this have been the porch that's not there now? Are you sure this isn't on the front?
This is the front of but this is facing east. There's steps on both sides.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
That's literally one of my favorite pictures I think we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because who took the picture? And she's just, I wonder if this was just
she's
random, because they just didn't, I don't know. This is one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah, I love that one.
I
Okay,
do
let's
too.
keep going. What other ones haven't we seen? Oh, okay. This is Martha when she's older and her husband, Leo Allen. And they actually, this isn't in the big house. This is when they moved just a little ways down the street. They are in a Sears home that the Countrymans actually live in now. And that is funny, though. That's one of the daughters as she aged back there in the back. Okay, and this guy ran the lumber yard in Flora. Okay, keep going. This is a wedding. So over the years, all three of those little girls got married in this house. And we're not exactly, I don't think this is one of the girls. This was perhaps somebody else. The front of the house was often used for events. So I think this was a friend of the family, perhaps. I don't know, but there's been several different weddings in the house, and there is going to be another wedding in the house. My daughter, Malia, is going to be married in the house in the spring. Her fiance's family is the ones that are currently restoring the house. So, okay, let's keep going. Oh, that's all you have? Okay, there was a couple others that I probably didn't send that were also of weddings, but... Okay, have we went through all of the pictures outside and inside now? Yes, okay. So it covered the picture. So,
the now present pictures.
Oh, yeah, let's show that. Okay, so this is not actually now. This is what this house looked like before the Larches bought it. And it was overgrown with bushes and stuff. It had blue aluminum siding on it. And it was in abandoned shape. So let's go over kind of what led to this point. Is that the Bowmans owned it from 1906 to 1962.
Ooh,
1962.
They were there a while.
They were there the longest. They were there a very long time. And then they sold it to a man named John Seahigh. In 1962. He only lived there for less than a year. Not sure why he bought it, flipped it. I don't know if he did a few repairs and then resold it for more money. Did people do that in 62? I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. And then John sold it to Dr. Max and Ruth Wickheiser.
Now that's the family that's when I was in it when I was a little girl.
Okay. So they owned it from 1966 to 1972 or close to that by my research.
Yeah, then they moved to Florida. They moved to Panama City Beach. That's how we got to Panama City Beach.
Oh, okay.
The Wickheisers, their daughter was friends with my sister.
Okay. They had done some updating and remodeling, and then they sold it to Bill and Mary Ellen Ridgway. Now, Bill was a mayor here in Flora, and they bought it in 1972, and then Mary Ellen lived there until her death in 2006, and that is when things started to go downhill.
From there.
So that was in 2006, and then it sold to the Pickle family, and they only owned it a very short time too. It didn't work out well for them, and then it eventually was bought by Ken and Cindy Brinkley. But sadly, I was told, and I don't know Ken, but I was told that Cindy was diagnosed with cancer on the same day they closed on the house. It was heartbreaking. So they probably also had big plans for the house, but things didn't work out, and they kind of had some tough times there. So they only owned it for a couple of years, and I believe someone told me that Cindy passed away. So then they sold it in, I think, 2010 to Curtis and Miranda Robinson, it says.
Wow.
But they were, I think, divorced shortly after that. And anyway, I think they maybe fell on some hard times too. And they owned it for about 10 years, and it sat empty for at least 3 of those years. And that is when Craig and Becky Larch stepped in, and they bought it. So this whole time, and they bought it in 2022. So this whole time that it was empty, there was people coming in and out of it and vandalizing it. And all of this beautiful hardwood and everything, all these original light fixtures, everything, through the grace of God, most of that was left alone. But they did spray paint on certain things. But a lot of that was like drywall and paneling that was removed anyway. And so the bones of the house are spectacular. Like, it is the sturdiest house in town, I'm quite sure. If you look at how it's built and you have someone explain how they've done it, it is so. I mean, Frank Nichols was a very smart man, and he built a house to last. So
forever.
The reason, so the inside is all salvageable, even though they probably had coons in there and stuff coming and going. I mean, it was very abandoned. But what saved this house is that its construction was amazing. So the roof of the construction and the roof is what saved it. It still has the original roof on it from 1906.
Really?
How many people watching this show, I mean, is your roof over 100 years old?
No,
oh my gosh, most of us can't even get 20 years out of a roof
That's
anymore.
That's the problem with the way things are done now. They don't build them like they used to.
If it would have had like a normal shingle roof on it, it would have caved in.
Sure.
And the home would be ruined. But the roof on that house is made out of stamped steel panels that are copper plated. Okay, so basically it's a metal roof with copper plating over it, and that is the original roof. So is it in perfect condition? No, but it is in really good condition.
Right.
So it works for now, like it's doing great, but eventually the plans are the Large family will replace it with exactly the same thing. There is a company in Missouri that still has the original stamps that makes these roofs. Except this time he's probably going to do solid copper instead of copper plating. So, but for now, the one that's on there is still doing great. So these 3 little girls that were in the yard, they all grew up to live nearby. And when Nell got older, Jay Bowman died first. I think he died in 1951. I don't know where I wrote that down at, but Nell was still alive. But she's living in this big house, and she's handicapped. She can't. Eventually, she had both of her legs amputated. I think she was probably diabetic before people knew how to take care of that. So here she is with no legs in this wheelchair, and she moved in across the street with May, who lived facing the house. So they say that Nell would go outside every day with her wheelchair and sit on the front porch and stare at her house and watch whatever the new owners were remodeling or fixing up on the house. That's sad. I mean, can you imagine, like, losing your house and then having to go sit outside and watch somebody else live in it? I don't know. Anyway, we got to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Peggle's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Peggle Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Roll King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Rural King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
Awesome.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. So we are talking about the Bowman house today, and I feel like I rushed it because I felt like I had all this information to talk about. But basically, it's just a really cool house, and it is currently being restored by Craig and Becky Larch of Flora, and they've owned it for about a little over a year now, I think. And their plan, the whole point to all of this, is they are going to restore it to exactly how it was in 1906, 1907 when it was finished. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to keep everything original.
It takes that person that loves that. Not everybody has a love affair or the time and it's...
Well, the great thing about Craig is he has the skills, so he's doing it all himself.
He's doing it all himself. You'd have to do it yourself.
Because, if you had to pay labor for everything, that would be ridiculous.
It wouldn't get done, yeah. Because it's going to be it's going to be outrageous the way it is.
Yes.
But it'll also be worth it. And,
Yeah, so it's said that there's the attic area, and that is where the neighborhood children would play on rainy days. But one rainy day on July the 4th, the house was struck by lightning, and the attic you can still see that in the attic where it was struck. Mm-hmm. The place is still there, and.
Now, when I had went in there after Mrs. Ridgway passed away, there were some things that had done to the house. Like there was one really weird, like a stage was built in like a bedroom upstairs.
Yeah, that's all gone.
Okay. Yeah, I knew there was some interesting things that had taken place.
Yeah. So Mr. Bowman died in 1951, and I don't have the year that Nell died. I should have looked that up.
My assumption is they're buried at Elmwood.
They're all buried at Elmwood in Flora.
Is there like we see like the Cunningham and the Samuel, is there like a family marker that says where the Bowman's at?
I think they have a fairly big marker.
I think so. Mm-hmm. It actually looks, are there any descendants still in Flora?
Yeah, they're not in Flora, but okay, so they had the three kids, Anna Mary, Martha, and Marguerite. Now, then Martha Allen, she's the one that lives in the Red Sears house where the Countrymans now live.
That was a Sears house?
Yeah, that was a Sears house. Okay. Which I want to do an episode on, but I haven't dug up enough information about that. Okay, so Martha had a daughter named Martha.
Here we go.
Martha Boor. Okay, so her Boor. And Martha Boor had a daughter named Martha Bank. So this is getting into where the family reuses a lot of their names. Martha Bank, she's still alive, and I hope she watches the show. She's in an assisted living facility over by St. Louis.
Oh, really?
And the Larch family has actually, and Malia went with them. And because Malia wrote a skit about this for the cemetery tour recently. So if you recently attended Shadows of Elmwood in Flora, you heard part of this story. And Malia and Alex, her fiance, played Martha and Leo Allen. Mm-hmm. And then Craig and Becky Larch played Nell and Jay Bowman. Okay, so Martha Bank is still alive. So hi to Martha if you're watching, and thank you for giving Craig all of this information.
Because granddaughter.
Yes, and she remembers so much. And so Craig and Becky and Alex and Malia went over and interviewed her and had a nice visit with her, and they're planning to do it again. And I think she has plans. Okay, wait, I'm saying this wrong. Martha Boor is still alive. She's Martha Allen's daughter. She's the one in assisted living.
Okay.
Martha Bank is her daughter, who's not in assisted living. That is the one that has kind of done the communication and the drive, and I think she's going to drive her mom over here or something.
And where does she live in the St. Louis area too?
Martha Boor is 93. So hi to Martha Boor if you're the one that's watching. But yes, they all live over there somewhere.
That's awesome.
Okay, so
I bet they're thrilled.
Yes. So they sat down and had this wonderful interview with Craig and Becky and gave them all of this information about the house. And Craig was able to pull up on his phone some pictures and said, that's how they identified the light fixtures.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that's the dining room light fixture. I mean, she remembered everything. She told them all kinds of neat things about the house.
How fun.
So
That's awesome that
very
she's still
cool
there.
to have a living descendant of the people that, I mean, that was her grandma that built the house, and her mom grew up there and then continued, they lived across the street, basically, catty corner across the street from it for years. So, here's where Nell died in 1964 and Jay died in 1951. So she had 13 years without him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a very cool house. It's a very interesting house because it's so unique in its construction.
Yes.
And
it's just part of our history. I mean, I just want it all to stay.
I mean, it went from green to white for several years.
Poor people.
And then to blue, which maybe by the time they went to white, it was then for a while, white was classy,
White was classy.
So it might have, just a change of the times. But when it was built, white was not classy. So then green to white to the blue siding that I think maybe the Ridgeways put on, which was, I'm not knocking them because at the time
that was what was happening.
That was what was happening. That was cool.
It was beautiful.
And and so then now that's the blue siding is off, back down to the original.
I didn't
siding.
realize so many people. I didn't realize people had got in there and vandalized it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was there was like toddler handprints, like they had made put paint on some toddler's handprints and then had them walk up the stairs or something. Malia was telling me that. There was all kinds of
weird.
Yeah. I don't, and then like circles and stars, like almost like satanic stuff. It was creepy. Yeah. But that's all gone. And
praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Get rid of all that. We don't need that. We don't need that business.
And so there's, Craig and Becky have already done a lot, but they still have, quite a bit to do to the outside because they've been focused on the inside. They just recently moved in 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Did they both work? They work at NAL?
Craig works at NAL and Becky works at the junior high.
Junior high. Okay. All right. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that because then we have that the Willover family that's doing the Black House. We need these young people to step in, and the only once again though is all the bathrooms upstairs. Both
over the years there's one downstairs.
There's one downstairs.
Yeah, so I don't think originally there was, but over time there was.
Yeah, that's I think that's a big discouragement for sometimes people, like middle-aged people wouldn't take it on because you got to think about when you get older. That was one of the reasons why after Mrs. Ridgway passed away, because Jim and I looked at it and he was like, well, if this would have been 10 years ago, but we were just getting too old. And the fact that you got to go up so many stairs, because once you start knocking on 60, you start feeling the effects of all the stairs.
Yeah.
But that's good though that there is a downstairs bathroom.
Yes, there is. And it is neat because you don't think these Bowmans had servants. So upstairs there's servant bedrooms,
quarters,
and then also in the basement, you could see this was the servants' work area. And
did it have a dumbwaiter in it?
Not that I know of.
That's like the Gish house over in Xenia, the big white one with green. Oh my gosh, that house is spectacular.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something to restore?
We need. Oh yeah, and it's the same thing. It's like nobody's restoring it, and it is beautiful. I went in there. Donna Mason took me in there when it was empty not too long ago, and it was. I mean, it's got the servants' quarters and. It's ginormous, and it's because I feel like a lot of times the older houses there's a lot of rooms but they're smaller. This room has a grand ballroom in it. It's the most. Probably the most beautiful house I've ever been into. They're huge. Yeah, a room would be as big as our studio right here, which is very unusual.
Yeah.
Very unusual.
Yeah, that's super cool.
It is neat.
And I think it kind of has an interesting roof on it, too.
It does, yeah. And it's got a story, too. It's probably going to be one that we're going to do on our October Haunted Houses episodes.
Oh, okay.
Because it's definitely, got a spirit in it, too.
Okay.
Sometimes you just don't want to leave,
I guess not.
There's also a house on South Main that's got a spirit in it, too. If you don't fix up their houses or keep them clean, they'll run you right out of there.
They'll run you off.
But yeah, it's just so big, and that I don't know. I'll have to get a hold of Pam Gish. Pam Gish lived in it and get the information on it because her mom Wanda's still alive. Okay, and get the information, do an episode on that house because it is something like you've never seen.
Wow,
it's spectacular.
Yeah. I love old houses.
Oh my gosh, me too. I just love them.
Yes.
I don't like new houses.
I know. Well, the old ones have so much character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the carvings on like the staircases and the. It's like probably no one can afford to do that these days, but because it would be so expensive. But also, just no one cares about the details.
Cares. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like whenever anything new's built, it's just next thing you know, they just have trouble.
I wonder, she inherited this money probably from her father, Cunningham. I wonder what his fortune would be equal to today. I bet it would be million. I bet he was like in today's terms a millionaire.
Oh, I would think so. Because you're talking, this house was built grand at $8,000.
Right. They spared no expense.
And it was, now it's going to cost a lot.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like the Woolever boy said, just to fix that. I mean,
millions.
A couple $1,000,000.
Well, I don't think it's going to take millions to redo this house. I think Craig and Becky are doing it all themselves. You can do it right. Yeah, absolutely. So,
it can be done.
Anyway, okay, so let's see. We always end the show with words to live by. So what do you have?
Well, I have this one from H. Jackson Brown Jr.
Okay.
Seek opportunity, not security. A boat in a harbor is safe, but in time its bottom will rot out.
Ooh. That's good. Read that one again. I want to read it slowly.
Seek opportunity, not security. A boat in a harbor is safe, but in time its bottom will rot out.
Oh, see, that's very similar to some others that we have where the basic thing they're saying is take a risk.
Take a risk, yeah.
That's so much easier said than done, though.
It is. It's scary. I'm not a risk. I am not a risk taker by no means. I don't
prefer
think
the safety of my harbor.
I prefer my bottom rotting out.
Yeah,
sometimes.
my boat's gonna rot probably.
That's not true. We dove right into the theater head first.
Well, that's true.
We literally dove into the theater, and
I guess we pick and choose. Our risks.
Once again, it's something that we like. So
yeah, absolutely. So
I think we're done, sister.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Thank you guys for watching, and remember, you can always email us if you have any show ideas. It's Beth and Stacey, by the way, with Beth and Stacey at gmail.com, or like and follow us on Facebook. And I hope you enjoyed the show about the Bowmans.
It was awesome.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
God bless you. Have a great day.